Hey guys, welcome to Barbie Lives. As promised, the Browns.
The Browns.
It is Saturday, 6 o'clock.
Yeah. The Browns with Barbie.
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
So who chose this song?
Siri did.
Siri?
Yeah.
Alexa.
We need to pray for Alexa.
Oh, God.
Oh, see, we need to pray for Alexa.
Alexa.
Alexa, keep playing music. Oh.
Oh, there it is.
She's got a mind of her own. Yeah. So as you guys are logging in today, or joining in with us today, it's going to be a little different. I can't read your comments or your questions, but guess what? You guys turned in a bunch of good ones, which they're going to come and tackle them.
Yeah.
So I'm just excited to get into this with the Browns, but I want to share how I met them and how they just blessed me. Yeah, you can turn it down.
Alexa, turn the music off.
There we go.
Wow.
I need
Wow.
to be obedient like
Right.
Alexa.
Right.
I mean, she thinks about it, but then she does it. I mean,
Turn it off.
turn it off. Boom. I want to share just a little bit of how I met Ray and Amber. I absolutely loved them from the moment I saw them because you guys were doing announcements at Encounter. And you guys were so outgoing. I was like, yes,
The
you
old
guys
days.
are awesome.
Yeah.
And a funny story, I remember going to Bible study with them, and one day, like a Sunday, our whole Bible study came dressed in black and white. Like no one planned it, we were just like all black and
colors, but
That's
we're
awesome.
great.
Right.
We're still
Still the same.
the
We
same.
had it great.
We had it great, but it's still the
Yeah.
same, you know? Other things that I love about them, they've been such an inspiration and encouragement to my personal life. They've always pushed me to be better and to just, you know, like if I dream something, like do it. And so I've always admired that and just been so thankful to have you guys in my life for that. And I will not cry, I promise. Maybe, okay, I won't promise that because I probably will cry during this time. But we're Raider fans. I know you converted.
I'm a Raider fan.
Yeah.
I converted.
She
She
converted.
converted. I am announcing it.
It took a little while. Took a bit. Took some work.
Yeah, this is my public announcement. I'm a Raiders fan.
Yeah, I found that out and I was like, yes.
Yeah.
So we've watched games together, we've cried together, we've laughed a lot together.
Mhm.
I don't think there's
a lot
ever
of
been
laughing.
a time where we don't laugh.
I think Barbie makes me laugh every time I'm around
Barbie
her.
is hilarious.
I think they're hilarious. Oh, another fun fact, guys. We're all August babies.
Yes. And we celebrate.
Leo.
Yes.
So fun.
All my Leos.
Virgos.
Stand up.
Yes. And
I mean, no, like not like literally stand up. I'm just saying, congratulations that you're all.
Raider, such a natural at this like show thing.
What show thing?
I'm like trying to, you know, like the cameras are on us and you're doing so good.
you
Am
are
I?
doing,
Yeah.
you guys are doing great. You guys, it's an August baby thing. It's a
Yeah.
natural thing.
It is.
Yeah, it's natural.
Yeah.
So it's you, your first birthday.
No.
then
I'm first.
You're
August 7th.
Yeah.
16.
I always mix you guys up.
Yeah.
I think I've even congratulated you on
Oh.
his birthday.
I think, I know.
Birthday.
Well, and we have like 5 other people, Pastor Nate,
Yeah,
Yeah,
Jasmine,
it's
Yes.
a busy month.
Is it
Brandon, Martha.
It's a
Yeah.
busy month.
It's a great month. Like if you
It's
know
a
these
busy
August
month.
babies, even in
Yeah.
like we have Melanie, Mateo,
Mhm.
you know Marisol's
Yeah.
kids
Yeah.
together, and then a bunch of like family from that.
They're
I was
August,
like,
too.
they're all August.
Oh, that's awesome.
I know. We're
That's
pretty awesome.
amazing.
Well, I'm not gonna say we're pretty awesome. I'm just gonna say
We
that
kind of
we
are.
have fun. We just have a lot
It's a
of
little
fun.
bit. We're a little awesome.
So-
Well, can I say something
Mhm.
about Barbie? And when we first met her, I mean, she just like came into our life like as a huge light in our life. Always this like pillar of light. Just
Yeah.
every time she walks into the room, you're like, Barbie's here! Yay!
Yeah.
And it's just amazing because she just lights up the room every single time she walks in it. And you have been inspiring to me and
Yeah.
have helped
That's for
me in so many ways you can't even know. Probably there's just so many I wouldn't be able to tell you them all.
You get my heart today, girl. Gosh, thank you. I'm completely humbled because I feel like I get more from your guys' relationship and always taking notes. So I hope you guys are taking notes because they got some good wisdom today. And thank you. I love you guys so much.
We love you too.
And you guys, if I've learned anything about being around the Browns, it's taking notes and always learning. I think I've always come out of here with like book recommendations or sermons or preachers. It's like, you need to listen to this. And then following up is like, what did you get out of it? Like, a learning spirit has always been like, I've always like learned from you guys to learn. Like, I've learned to learn from you guys as well.
You know, but that's actually crazy because, Barbie, you have that.
I know, right?
Because, like, you are always like, oh, you guys need to listen to this.
Yeah,
You guys, and I think that's one thing about Barbie. Like, I admire Barbie because of just her obedience to God, like, is crazy. Because when we first met, your obedience to God then was just like, who is she? Like, because when I was...
Lord willing.
I'm like, oh my God, like I was just trying to run my own life, but you just had this vision about God and God's life. So anyways, Barbie has always been the one to say, hey Amber, you guys need to listen to this sermon. Hey, you need to read this book.
And always like,
and it's always on point.
You know,
yeah, serious. It's like, that's good, Barbie.
Just an encouraging word, like no matter what we have been going through, or if it's in Bible study and like where it was a group of people or just like one-on-one, you always are able to speak into my life. And it is, I mean, that's your gift. You speak into people's life and it lifts them up.
Oh wow.
Always.
Thank you. Thank you guys. We're gonna stop. No, I'm gonna go cry in the corner because man, oh man, that I needed to hear that this week a lot, and I'm gonna cry, but it's okay. We're gonna continue, guys. I am excited to have the Browns, Raymond and Amber, and I hope you guys are tuning in, and this is giving you enough time to grab a cup of coffee, tea, water, a pen or permanent marker, and paper to write down some notes or just wisdom that I am so sure you're going to get out of this. So we're going to get into these questions, and you're going to get to know them better, their story. So
should we just make sure, since we can't see the phones, that they're all on?
I'm going to make sure they are all on, okay, guys? So you're going to get a close-up of my face.
I could have done
just to make sure, because...
Yes.
Okay, check one. One phone is working. That's good.
Oh, Jesus asked, who's the coach and the QB, the quarterback for the Raiders?
To who? Ray?
That's
to you, because you're...
Get him, Jesus.
You're on there.
My knowledge.
She don't know.
Yeah, she don't know. Okay, good. We are on. Let's see.
The coach?
Oh, the coach.
The coach.
Did you just hear her?
I didn't.
What did you say?
She said Crabtree.
I didn't know you
for
said
the Raiders coach.
I thought.
Oh no.
You said.
So.
Sweetie.
Is Crabshaw still there? Is he? No, right? He got
No.
traded.
Yeah.
But I agree with Jesus' theory of all of Raiders being all remade again. That's why we had a really bad season. I agree with him.
Yeah.
So here we go.
Okay.
You guys ready?
Yeah.
We're all on. We're all on.
Okay.
Okay. So here's the first one. How did you guys meet, and how old were you guys when you guys met?
So Ray and I met at work. We were engineering interns for an engineering firm here in town, and I was. I don't know how old I was.
I don't either. That's what I'm trying to figure out.
It was about
guys, they are forever young. I've known them for so long.
11 years ago. And so 25?
No, it was 13 years ago.
13 years ago? Okay.
Because I moved back. So I was living in Vegas prior to meeting
22.
Amber, and I was working for this company, and I relocated to this Reno office, and Amber was working in that office. So I came back in 2006. So that's about 13 years ago, and that's when we met, right?
That's so crazy that is, yeah.
She walked in, it was, anyways.
Yeah. So, okay, so you guys met at work.
So how old was I though? 23? I wasn't 23, I had to have been 23.
You were like almost 24, and I was 22.
Made on age.
Yeah. Yeah. 22.
Look at their faces.
So
you will see them in 10 years. They'll look the same.
I hope.
Yeah.
You do.
I hope so.
You guys have not aged at all. Literally, look at Ray's pictures when he was 18.
Ray
He looks the same.
Looks the same as when he was 8. 18, and 85.
You don't really take that as a
Okay.
compliment.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
What did you think of your spouse when you met them? Who wants to start that one?
I kind of had a heads up because a good friend of ours that we worked with, she said, "Are you coming into work today?" And I'm like, "Why?" And she said, "Well, there's a new guy that started. I think you're gonna like him. He's tall, bald, and black, and I think you're gonna think he's cute."
That's Ray. That's like
yeah.
Ray's perfect.
Yeah.
But I was in a completely different, I mean, I was not looking for a boyfriend. I actually had a boyfriend at the time.
Oh.
And so when I walked into work, I remember he was sitting in like this desk and turned around and was like, "Oh, hi, I'm Ray." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, he is cute." And then I just kind of went on, you know, with my
your
day.
other boyfriend?
And
Yeah,
continued
right.
on with my other boyfriend.
Yeah.
Boyfriend.
Yeah, I think, you know, when I was working, it had come to a surprise that, I don't know, I've just never been at a job where there was actually a really attractive girl there that worked there. So I thought that was, I mean, I really didn't think of it that much. I was like, oh, okay, she's cute. And then just kept moving on. I had so much going on at that time in my life. I felt like that was definitely the time that I felt I had control over my life, and I was doing concert stuff and just not really on God's plan. That was my plan.
Yeah.
So I thought she was cute and kind of just kept it moving. So
Okay.
yeah.
So, what was your guys' spiritual background at that time?
So I was in a place in my life where I was searching for something. I felt like something was missing, and actually it was a period of time where God was actually drawing me in, and I didn't know that it was God. Actually, I was more spiritual. I was reading books like Eckhart Tolle books and just different meditation books, and but I felt like so torn, like something was missing. And that was around the same time that I met Ray. I had just been going through kind of a lot, not going through a lot, just in my head. And so I didn't grow up in like a Christian home. We believed in God, but we didn't go to church or anything. And so I was just searching. And right around the time that I met Ray, I had read a book that was basically reintroducing me, or I guess introducing me to who Jesus really is, than the thought that I had of him, and so that was God just kind of opening the doors to drawing me in, and that's where I was at the point that I met Ray.
Yeah.
Oh, what about you, Ray?
So I was a little different than Amber. I mean, my dad is a pastor, and as you know, and so I grew up in church. I mean, I feel like from the day I could remember, I was on the front pew of a church on any given Sunday and Wednesday and Saturday sometimes, right? So like church was our life. And so when I had met her, I had professed that I was a Christian, and I thought that was kind of what my life was, but I really wasn't living really how God intended for me to live during that time. So,
So, you guys just kept on going. How did you guys become boyfriend girlfriend?
Well,
and how was that dynamic? You know,
it's a good question.
It wasn't love.
Okay.
I'm not saying it wasn't love at first sight, but you guys both recognized each other. But you had a boyfriend. When did
we were off and on, and like breaking up, getting back together, off and on,
or
with the other.
Okay.
And so it was like off and on, and then I was like, oh.
Did you have a girlfriend at that time?
So,
5? No,
it's complicated. It was complicated.
Okay.
So we were, complicated.
He was off. I don't know. I don't know. Ray had a lot going on.
Listen, you guys know that when you have the little status on your Facebook, it's complicated. I know that there's a meme. That was who who I was at that time.
I didn't know that was a status.
It is. It really is.
Is it a status?
It's
I
a
thought it was
status
just
like
a meme.
single, married. It's complicated.
Oh,
separated,
yes,
divorced,
yes.
widowed.
That was me.
No idea.
Yeah,
Okay.
That was me.
Yeah.
So like total a lot of stuff going on in my life there, and he had his stuff going on.
Yeah.
But then we worked together, and I was like, wow, I'm really starting to like work. Why do I like it so much? Oh, because Ray's there. And so we would just like go to work and hang out, and it was so much fun. Like we would laugh all the time. We would run errands for work out together.
You guys
and
volunteered, like, me,
yeah,
me.
Seriously.
yeah, they're like,
Yeah,
hey,
that's
these
what
plants
we're-
need to go down to the city. Who wants to take them? We were like, we'll take them. Together, yeah, we gotta go together. Yes, we'll give it to me. And so,
Can't one person can
yeah.
do it? No.
no,
So one needs to drive, give directions,
Yes.
and the
Yeah.
other one
Yes.
has to
yeah.
give it, and we have to wait in the car,
Yes.
so we don't have to pay
Yes,
parking.
exactly. No parking.
So it was so fun, and there was like
Yeah.
this like Ray made me laugh all the time. I was just like always cracking up all the time. I loved being around him. So
That's funny.
he still makes me laugh.
That's really funny.
But it was
Sounds
so
like
fun.
the same.
Yeah, it is the same, basically the same. But so we started like hanging out, right? And we had friends that we both knew, so we never met each other. But I knew like his best friend from way back,
Yeah.
and our circles of friends like always intertwined.
Yeah.
And we're like, how in the heck did we never meet each other? And so we started hanging out, and actually, I guess I'll just tell you what our first kiss, because I think it's kind of funny. I was telling one of my best friends, Maggie, that I really liked this guy at work, and it was so fun. I was like, but I'm not even gonna kiss him. I'm not even gonna go to that point at all. We're just gonna like laugh and just keep that energy there, and it's so fun. And then that day, I kissed him. that day, I was like,
It was so quick. There was like, no, I'm not doing it.
not doing
okay. Okay.
I'm just gonna cross that out.
yeah. Well, that didn't last. So that's how it led into, and
You know, but it, like, I think we both have to admit, it definitely wasn't love at first sight.
no, it was
And I
like,
think that's
this
what's
will be
like,
fun.
that's what's like crazy about our story is because we didn't, when this began, it was not like a movie fairy tale.
Yeah, no. No.
Right? So like, because I think even for my intention, it was, I looked at it and I saw it just as it being fun.
Yeah.
And that was
Absolutely.
it.
Mm-hmm.
Totally selfish. We were, you know what I mean? Like it
Yeah.
was,
Yeah.
we were after these just selfish desires. And we just went in,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah.
and so we started to have fun and it became more and more fun. Like we started to connect, but it was still just fun.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
And that was it, yeah.
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 So,
Okay.
So it was a lot of fun in the beginning of
Yeah.
your relationship. Okay, so can I ask a question? It kind of
Yeah.
has to go with this. So you were a pastor's kid and you were barely getting your awakening. You're just wanting to know, you know?
yeah.
So in the beginning of your relationship, did that ever come up? Like your spirituality
Yep.
and how was that?
So,
Yeah.
wow, this is crazy. I remember there were times where Amber and we would go out to the club. What was it, 210?
I think so.
Oh, I remember
Yeah.
that.
Right? Like we would go out to the club.
I couldn't get in, but I remember being there. I remember being there.
It's really crazy how God intervened. Like we had our own plan, but then God had His plan, and that's really how life is. We, like everybody, we all have our own plan, and then God intervenes.
Yeah.
So that's exactly what happened, and it was kind of a process. But literally, we were having so much fun. So it started at the office, and it started out hanging out a little bit outside, and then it led to like going out on weekends. And we had all of our friends, and Amber's friends, my friends. We'd go out to the club. We'd have a good time. We'd get home late. I would stay the night at your house.
Yeah, super late.
And then
Like 4,
Saturday night.
4 or 5 again.
Saturday night, we're out. Get out of the club.
Yeah.
I stay at your house.
Yeah.
And Sunday morning we went to church. We went to my dad's church. You remember that?
I remember.
We went to my dad's church like
I do remember that.
2-3 hours after we had just gotten home.
And I just had I mean, like, really, I was just actually excited to go to church. And God was like, I don't care what you're doing. I want to meet you.
Oh.
Yeah.
So sweet.
And
That's so sweet. Okay. So, what are some boundaries you guys set to honor God in dating? Those were their kids. If you heard that, it's not music.
It's actually just one.
Wonder,
it's not Alexa.
He's good. Huh? He's good.
Oh man. I will. I hope.
I
so.
mean,
yeah.
do you want to check on him or no? You're good.
On the boundaries you're going on. You can go check on.
Let me check.
Let's just do a quick check. We're just to make sure everything's okay. He might just.
Come on, guys.
He's tired.
You guys love Zai. You guys know Zai. You guys have seen Zai. He's a cutie.
Yeah.
And he's starting to walk, kind of.
Yeah. He took 2 steps officially and walks with your hands. Feel them.
Yeah, he's like that. So yes, guys. I hope you guys are enjoying this. I love that. I love what you just said.
Yeah, we even had conversations, like, there was I just didn't know, like I said, who God was, and, like, Jesus, I knew of him, but I didn't actually know him, I didn't have a relationship, I remember talking with Ray, and he was, like, telling me about, how he died, and he was resurrected, and he still lives, and he has his body, and I'm like, no, you're just, like, kind of floating out there, and in this, like, positive realm, kind of, just because I was on a totally, like, I just didn't know, and we were just totally on different, I didn't know.
So. And I loved how you just, like, said, you're like, he didn't care what I was doing, he wanted to meet me.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's God's heart.
Yeah.
Always. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't matter what you're doing, he wants to meet you. He wants to have with you.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. And I'm so grateful, because if it wasn't for him drawing me into relationship with him, I would have never even known him. I wouldn't have gone, I don't know, I would not be living life as sweet as I do now, because if you don't have God in your life, there's a sweetness to life when you know who Jesus is.
Yeah, that's so true. That is so good. I'm so excited, guys. Well, I'm just loving all of this. I hope you guys have tea, something to drink on, because we're going to be here a little bit longer. Just a little bit longer, guys.
I hope the baby's okay.
Me too.
Ray's still in there.
I know.
I don't know.
I don't know if it's the...
I think he's getting...
He's putting him down.
Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe. Do you want to go into the next one?
Yeah, I can start answering the next
one. What are some boundaries you guys set to honor God in dating, in that dating stage?
So we had no boundaries. And we actually, we kind of want to talk about boundaries, and there are boundaries that we have set in our marriage, but we had no boundaries in the beginning. I mean, we literally did whatever we wanted to and whatever made us happy. We were like, okay, it was all about making yourself happy. Like, our boundaries in the beginning?
Yeah.
There were none.
Yeah, no, I mean...
What?
Yeah, like...
It was like boundaries. Why would you put boundaries up? That is, like, so limiting, and we want to be free and do whatever we want. It was like a part of Ray that he didn't actually give over to God, and I was like, what boundaries? There are none. You should do whatever you want, whatever makes you feel good, and however, so yeah, we had...
I think when you start a relationship without God, there are no boundaries, right? And so that's how we started our relationship.
Yeah.
We started it out of really just this selfish desire and this self-fulfillment, and out of fun and like actually going, oh man, I actually like this person, and trying to like pursue that person. Like, the start was not a good start, and so now you have to, there's consequences to anything that we do, right? And so we didn't have boundaries then, and so trying to establish boundaries after not having boundaries and still not having God in the center of it is just, it's a challenge, and you don't even think of it.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying, right? We weren't like going, oh, we should set up boundaries, which is kind of crazy, because again, I confess and profess that I was a Christian, but there were certain parts of my life that I hadn't completely given God, and this was one of them. And
and boundaries are set to free you, right? It's crazy when you think of it, because they aren't set to actually keep you from the good things.
That's good.
And it's crazy because we had no boundaries, and that's why we had so many issues in the beginning, because there were no boundaries. We had, we were like, one of the reasons why I was going back and forth with my ex and then talking to Ray and going back and forth with him was because I was just doing what made me happy at that moment and just kind of fleeting whichever way the wind blew. And it was like, well, if I had boundaries put in place even before I met Ray, our relationship would have started off on a totally different platform.
Right.
Yeah. And so
that's good. Ooh.
Yeah.
That was really good. It's hard to go back when you already crossed all
Oh
of them.
yeah.
Right.
How do you go back? Well, there's one way.
Yeah.
But it's
Okay. So, how do you guys deal with how did you deal with jealousy in the beginning of your relationship, and how do you deal with it now? And I ask this, I think they're going to be really real because they are both really attractive. Like, look at Amber.
Barbie.
Look at Ray. Like, and then look at their babies. I'm like, and then look at their babies. And so I want to know, you probably,
this is
had
a good question.
I'm like, you both probably have.
I have dealt with jealousy my whole life. I have always been like a jealous person. And in the beginning of our relationship, the way I dealt with it is I was like, Rick, who's that girl you're talking to? Let me see your phone. You're not talking to her. Or I would just like fight. I was like feisty, like, you better stop or I'm gonna kick your butt. Not to him, but also to him. But I mean, like, really, there was times where I, like, an example, my cousin was in town and we were at a nightclub, just put back in that environment, and Ray, being Ray, the nicest guy, funny, good looking, I mean, women just like flock to him.
Wow.
And he's like hanging out. And so my cousin and I are sitting in our little booth area, and I'm like, he doesn't want to sit by us, but he wants to talk to that girl. And so I think I went up and like said some words to them, and then drove home, punched a hole through the new TV that Ray bought me.
I bought you the TV.
And then
because all good boyfriends buy their girlfriends TVs. That's weird.
He got game.
Look, I'm gonna teach you how to get your girl.
You know what? With all these
60
games,
inch.
it's like Jesus like, leave your number on a toilet paper. Ray's all after that TV.
I saw that.
After that, then buy them a TV.
And then buy them a TV. But make sure she's not, a fighter, because she can punch a hole through it. Yeah. And then that sucks. That really sucks.
And then you just wasted money.
Yeah.
But see, this is what happens.
Ray,
like,
what is your
Yeah. How did you deal?
But this is what happens.
Jealous?
So, yeah, I actually deal with jealousy. It's really weird the way I deal with jealousy. But jealousy was a big issue
because it
in
went
our
around in a
relationship.
circle.
But like, we started our relationship in that fun, exciting, and I'm doing this out of self-fulfillment stage without boundaries and without even really understanding the consequences, while you were still dealing with your relationship and was still dealing with my relationships. And then now we're in a season where we're actually trying to date. Like, how does that even, you know what I mean? So like...
Yeah, so we moved into dating. So this was actually, when I punched the TV, like, we had moved in together. We're like, okay, we're serious.
Serious.
We're going to be boyfriend and girlfriend. Let's move in together.
Yeah.
Because that's the step.
That's
right.
Next
I mean, that's
but what do you...
That's what MTV told me.
Make sure you live together. Okay, so why...
So, jealousy for me.
Yeah.
Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, were you ever jealous of her?
Yeah.
Well, not of her, but over her.
Yeah,
and how did you deal with it then?
So, Amber, I was definitely jealous. I think I was... One thing came from your past relationship. I was jealous of that. And just other stuff, right? She's out, she is...
Gorgeous.
So like... And when you come from our background, anything that's like actually innocent, you you would question.
Yeah.
So
Right.
any conversation with any boy, any dude was an issue. And then I would later find out, oh, that's my brother. And I'm like, oh, okay. But the way I dealt with jealousy was, like Amber's, it's either fight or flight. Have you heard the term? You either fight or flight.
Yeah.
Amber fights, I flight. So, which is not healthy, because what I do, which is really, really dangerous, but it's just a part of my brokenness. In that season, when I would flight, meaning I would like disengage.
Yeah.
Right? And even when we were dating, my jealousy, maybe not when we were dating, maybe not that far into it, but like when we were having fun, there was some still, like as soon as you started getting jealous when we were having fun, I'm like, whoa, what's happening? I thought this was just for fun. And now I'm actually hurt by what is going on in this situation. And so, right?
You're like, wait, I was on the swing, you're pushing me off.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't
Wow.
like this.
But I would disengage, and I would actually seek attention from different areas.
And then look at that
Which is a
circle,
problem.
because then I would be like, why are you doing that? And then I would get jealous and fight, and then move, and it would just keep going.
Yeah, meaning when I would find attention, like I would actually try and pursue other girls.
And
Right.
then I would
And
be
then-
like, what is going on?
And you guys were living together like that?
No, so that
we weren't
was
doing
kind of
that.
before.
Yeah.
Okay.
no.
But even when we were living together, it still happened. I mean, it wasn't like he was pursuing them or like he was like talking, like he would do things to make me jealous in that aspect. And then
Have you ever heard of the Enneagram? Okay, so like it's crazy.
I think a lot of you guys have. I have told you your type.
Seriously.
I have
It's-
sent
the
you
Enneagram
a
is
test to date, so I
Yeah.
can love you correctly. But here we go.
So anyways,
Yeah.
it was dead on
Yeah.
with my the weak part of my Enneagram was dead on.
Yeah.
And it's actually really scary.
And
So,
that's like a personality, the way you handle things. It's a test that you take, and you can read about what type of person you are, how you respond to conflict, how you respond to love, and all of
And
that.
why
So
you do
yeah,
things.
and why you do things.
Yeah.
It's really
Yeah.
good. If you guys Enneagram, you can ask us. We'll send it to you. It's amazing.
Yeah. Any
You should be
couples.
self-aware because
Actually, that would be
Yeah.
one advice. If I was to give
Yeah.
anybody advice, I don't know if we're
we're
telling
not there
advice.
yet. But you can.
I mean,
Right now,
and
just get
I
it.
don't need to tell,
Yeah.
like, I think that we're not perfect and we're not the almighty, but I think one good thing
Yeah.
is for couples to take the Enneagram so you understand,
How you function.
together.
Yeah.
Anyways.
That's so good. So how do you guys deal with jealousy now?
Well, there was
Yeah.
a point in my
Amber still be fighting. She'd be like,
Relationship.
I want to
you
share
know?
one thing. Amber, I've only seen in that feisty stage with like when I get hurt. She goes, "Who is this?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go fight them right now." Like, and I was like, when I saw her in that, I was like, "You're a keeper." I don't care what I do my whole life. I want Amber in my life always, because she will fight you if
Yes.
you hurt me. Yeah.
It's true.
In the name.
It's true.
In a
Might not
righteous
be
way.
right.
In the
In
name
a
of
righteous,
Jesus.
in the name of
She's
Jesus,
amazing.
she will slap you. She will slap you in the name of Jesus.
It's it would just we're moving forward.
Anyway, how do you deal with it now?
So in my relationship with God, so I used to put everything on Ray. I would put everything on him. Like, you need to make me happy. Like, my happiness was laying on his shoulders, like on his back, you know. If he did something wrong, if he let me down, like it was his fault. You need to do this for me, you need to do that. Whatever it was all based on him. And then through just relationships that I had with people like you who would speak into my life, right? Like, so many people that we had at that point of our lives that we started to build relationships with, and I think we're going to talk about, just let me know that he's going to let you down every time. He will let you down. Everybody in this world will let you down. No matter how perfect they are, there's
Right.
going to come a time that they will let you down. You cannot put that weight on his shoulder. And so they pointed that out to me, that I was putting my trust and faith in him to keep me happy, rather than putting my trust and faith in Jesus Christ and understanding that he's the only one who cannot let me down. And when I did that, it changed the whole dynamic. I mean, there's definitely some times where I get jealous, where I'm like, oh, I wonder, wonder what her motive is. Like, you know, I mean, like that's, but I take those thoughts captive and I think like, okay, no, like I trust God, and because I trust God, I'm putting my trust Ray. Like that is, I put my trust in God, and that flows over to my trust in Ray, and just knowing that he's in control of everything. God is, and so I don't have to worry, and I don't have to, because no matter what happens, he knows what's happening.
So I think that you said something that was really good, and that really sums it up. So jealousy comes out of wanting control.
Oh yes.
Right?
Yes.
And so
that's a delusion.
It is. It is. It completely is.
Yeah.
And so jealousy is this idea that you want to have control over what your spouse does.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, and I was thinking of that because for whatever reason, I am oblivious to things. Like
by the grace of God.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. And so Amber like kindly tells me,
you know?
like, so like girls or women will talk to me and I'll just be like, I don't think anything of it. And Amber be like, that girl's like really trying to hit on you. Like, so, and we're not perfect. We're definitely not perfect, but God has like completely brought us from it. And we'll probably talk about that. But even like, because we had built a business together and we were doing a lot of traveling, and there's pretty people, you know, within this business. We go to these conferences and we go travel into different markets, and there's just people all over the place. And so it wasn't that much of an issue when you were active. Yeah. Right? But then we had Zoe, and you weren't able to be on the road as much, right? And so now it's another level of trust, right? And so in order for Amber to really trust me, she has to have her faith anchored in God, because she has no clue. Yeah. Right? Like, I'm on the road, I'm out of town, and she can either worry herself to death, assume, make up assumptions, create this picture, but really what that is that's just the desire to want to control.
Yeah. I guys take him.
So, and we went through that, and I think that even through that, there was probably some bumps.
I mean, there was some bumps during that period for sure, but it was, we dealt with it just differently, and so
good.
Jealousy. It's
jealousy,
I mean, it's
wanting to take control.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So if you guys are jealous, even in ministry and work, trust
so
God.
many things.
Trust God. Goodness, that's so good. How did you go from all that mess to getting married and alone, having the marriage that you guys have now?
Yeah.
Well, how did that happen? Okay,
a miracle.
So
a miracle happened.
Because you guys are like fighting and punching.
Ray even punched the side of his car once.
It was bad.
And dented it.
So I had a really nice.
I like the bill.
No. Coupe de Ville. I remember that. That was such
I think it was
a
on the
crazy
side of the road.
season.
You were like, I'm pulling over, and then you were like,
pull over. A night after the club, something. Jealousy.
Fighting.
Let
me out of the car now. Okay.
Why are you talking to that security guard?
Right.
I was trying to get in.
Yeah. So
how do you go from that to
so
marriage now? That I absolutely.
So it was either like stay together, break up, and those were our only choices, right? But we knew we wanted to be together. Like that's why we moved in together. But we were dealing with so much.
But did we really though?
What?
I still even have a hard time believing that we actually had this like long-term vision.
Well, we didn't have a long-term vision.
Okay.
We had, but we wanted to be together at the moment.
Okay.
We didn't have a long-term vision. We were like, we don't really know. We just know right now.
Yeah.
We don't know what the future holds. Let's see. Let's try it out.
Yeah.
And that's where we were. So we were living together. We were fighting. I mean, just like awful. I feel so bad for our neighbors. And it would be embarrassing if anybody lived by us and then knew who we were later, because it was a wreck. And so, so by the grace of God, Ray started this new job at Dinter Engineering, and he started working for Keller Hackbush, and Keller happened to be a Christian, and he actually is a pastor today. He's the president of Dinter at the time, and so he kind of they began their relationship and became good friends, and we would go over to Keller and his wife Maria's house for dinner, and like amazing couple. Just, I mean, they were both genuinely so loving and like welcomed us. And so we started developing a relationship with them, and then they got a glimpse of like our fighting. Like they started asking us questions, right? You develop a friendship and and they're like, well, where are you guys going with this? And at this time also, we started going to church together. We started going to Nathan Dupree's church. And that was amazing. That was just part of God drawing me in, and also drawing Ray closer to him as well. So like, we're living together, we're developing a closer relationship with God. He has developed this good friendship with his boss, who's a Christian. And Maria and Keller asked us, hey, well, do you guys want to be, like, where is this going? Do you guys want to be together? Or, you know? And we said, well, I guess we'll think about that. And we did, and we told them, like, yeah, we would like to be together. And they said, okay, would you be interested in us showing you what a relationship looks like on its way to marriage through the eyes of God? And what does God say about a man treating a woman and a woman treating a man? Because they could see that we had it twisted.
So, and even within that, like there was this, so it didn't even really get into that. It was more of like, I had a relationship with Keller that allowed me to like maybe talk a little bit more about our relationship than So
I'm listening to you, Greg.
Yes. So so we, like, it was kind of this warming up phase for us to really talk to Keller and Maria, and it got to a point where they were like they heard us enough, and they were like, oh my God, you guys, there needs, so they basically got us to a point where we had to make a decision whether or not like we really wanted to pursue our relationship together. So
that's awesome.
It was totally God, like, honestly, because it was just how everything aligned. And I think God was obviously in the midst of our relationship, even when we didn't want him to be in our relationship. And by me even like going to church after we step out of the club with Amber, and like little stuff like that, and then all of a sudden my relationship with Keller, and for us to even be willing to go, we'll talk to you about really private stuff and stuff that you wouldn't normally talk to with anybody. So that was really the start of it, which I look at it as like God really having an encounter with us was with Keller and Maria.
That's so awesome. So that's where it started, where you guys started working on your, hopefully moving towards marriage, because you guys were still dating at that time?
Still dating,
So that's awesome. I think you guys I've seen you guys do that as well. Like, what, you take couples under, well, not couples, but you've even like spoken with me. You're all like, when you have your future husband, they gotta go through me and Amber. You know, they gotta get. Not saying, but you know, just taking under your wing. Like, hey, this is what's worked. This is what hasn't worked. And
I think we have, and I think like God uses like the bad for good, and our bad was ultimately used for good. And I can think of some people's, just for an example, but like literally just with Keller and Maria bringing us under their wing, and for us to go, we're willing to be told what this should look like. And then Keller going, okay.
How was that with you and Keller? Like, did you guys have separate meetings, or were you guys together? You're like,
it's both. Yeah, it was like, it was both. It was really good. So in the beginning, we kind of met together.
Yay,
we
we're
met
getting
together.
baby's eye, guys.
Let's do,
Okay.
let's do ain't no
Guys,
pump.
this is a fruit of their love. Oh, and,
Look at this.
oh, and he wants to be on. He's like,
He's
I'm
like,
on camera.
We
I'm gonna get
live?
on
We
there.
live?
Okay.
So,
So how did that look?
that was, it was good. So we were meeting together at times, and then we would meet separately. And it was really just Keller Maria discipling us. And they really just pointed back to the Word of God and what God says, what He desires out of our marriage. And just through that, I think it's just it's crazy to think of like the whole process, because we were willing to meet with Keller and Maria, right? And then God like gave us this desire to like want to pursue and be discipled. And then God kind of transformed our hearts and our minds to like ultimately give Him authority over this part of our lives. So during this discipling, we're looking at passages. Keller is like, bro, get it right. Because even still, we were like clashing. Well, we were like...
and like, one of the reasons why we were clashing was because I had no idea how to treat a man. Like, I had no idea. I would do things like hold his hand and give him a kiss on the cheek and think like that was like feeding him, or you know, like what he needed. But it's not. He needs respect, and he needs to be honored, and he needs to be built up. And I wasn't doing any of that. I would be like, why didn't you hold my hand? And then I'd give him an attitude and totally disrespect him in front of people, and like talk to him with an attitude, and he has milk everywhere. And I had no idea. And so one of the things that they showed us is that God says that I should honor my husband or boyfriend or the man that I am pursuing, and honor him and give him respect. And so I had to learn that. Like, my natural response is like very snappy and very controlling, and not respect doesn't come natural to me, and it didn't come natural to me. I mean, it didn't when we were dating, for sure. And so like that was just one of the things that we learned through the process.
Did you see that modeled in Maria?
Yes. Oh my gosh, it did help out. Like, they were not only just showing us by like scripture and examples, but they were a living example of marriage.
So and for me, you know, you get to like, you start looking at, like, Keller's like, okay, dude, like, this is what God is saying for your life. Like, God is actually calling you. I think for like culture wise, it's completely different, right? It is like the roles can be different. There's this power struggle between couples. There's and so it's just different. But like the verse in the Bible, it says that the woman should submit to their husband. And I think that that's controversial in itself, right? So like for anyone who really doesn't have that relationship with God, they hear that, they're like, whoa. And so I probably for Amber was impressed because
he agrees with you.
Yeah,
he agrees completely.
He will show up. But so then it describes the role of a wife, and then but it also continues, and it says that the man should love the wife like Christ loved the church. And so then you got to look at, okay, well, what does that mean? Like, how did Christ love the church? Well, Christ died for the church, right? Like Christ gave up all of his preferences, all of his conveniences for the church. And if you read the Bible and you read the story of Jesus Christ, you see that the church was against him. There was a part of the church that was against Jesus Christ, right? There was a part of the church that would offend him, they would mock him, and they even got to a point where they like beat him, and was the reason why Jesus Christ was crucified and hung on a cross, right? So like now we're talking about the story of the gospel. But when you look at how Jesus Christ loved the church, that's how he loved the church. Even in spite of being offended by the church, by mocked by the church, he still laid down his life. So now,
Keller's like,
yeah, exactly. Like,
wow.
Bro, you have preferences, you have conveniences that you want to hold on to, but God is calling you to lay those down for Amber.
Wow.
Whoa, is exactly what I said. Because as soon as you give the authority, and when I say give God authority over my life, is I go, okay, God, I want my life to be whatever you want it to look like. So whatever you want my role in this marriage to be, I'm okay with that. And so that's really what it looks like to give God authority over your life. So now I am going.
He's all like, what is going on? Why
He's like, wait a minute, I was so cool.
I was on there. I was killing it.
Yeah. So that was really my moment. And so we started to live out of those roles. And I don't even think, and I have to explain this, because as we moved on in our relationship and Amber submits to her husband, and I love, it doesn't, like, when you read the Bible and read the context, that's important to do when you're reading the Bible, is understand who's talking and who are they talking to.
And what does it mean?
And what is the culture? What's the culture? So, and if you do that with this verse, you'll understand that God is not saying that the woman is less equal, right? Like, God is just saying that the woman has a different role than the man. It's like the brain and the heart. Right? Like, neither are greater or less. They're both very important for the health of the body, and so are the roles of the marriage. So what Amber does in our marriage is vital to the health of our marriage. What I do in the marriage is vital for the health of our marriage. So it's playing those roles, though.
Before I knew even a role that a woman has in a marriage, I used to think, I'm going to make my own money. I'm going to be the breadwinner. I don't want to depend on anybody. I want to be the one making the decisions. I just want, like, let me be the head. You could do whatever you could say. I'll just do whatever I want, you know? And that's what I thought that I wanted. But then as God drew me closer and started opening my eyes and my heart more, I realized that I love the way Ray leads our family. I love it when he leads me in anything. I mean, when he takes the lead and makes decisions, I love that. Like, I am so grateful that I don't have to have all of that on my shoulders. Like, you take it, I trust you, because I know that every decision that Ray makes is, he has me in mind and the best for me in mind. So he's not making decisions.
Keep talking.
Yeah. He is not making decisions based off of his selfishness. It's with me in mind, obviously. So I love that. And now, what is it?
Yours was turned around, but here we are. They're listening to you guys. This one was on. It's still on,
it was
guys.
turned around?
Yeah. So
the whole time?
I don't know.
Oh no.
But it only gives us like an hour, but we're gonna continue. You can keep going.
Okay.
So
well,
we're still on Facebook.
Oh
okay, guys. Sorry about that. I knew I had to check something. Okay. We're going. Okay. We're almost done. Just two more questions.
Yeah.
We'll do two more questions, guys, and then we'll get going. So we have a lot of good questions, but which ones do you guys want to tackle out of these two? Do you guys want to do these two?
I think besides God, do you have boundaries? I don't know which
To
ones do you want.
safeguard your marriage?
Yeah. Let's do that
We can do
one.
those quick. We can do
Okay.
Yeah. So the question is,
do you have boundaries to safeguard your marriage now?
yes. Yeah.
And what
So
are they?
we didn't in the beginning. Remember that? Okay. Now we do that again. Okay. So now we do. I think for myself personally, there's things that I do, whether it's something as simple as like there's certain things or people I don't follow on social media, just to protect the eyes. There's certain things that I set up in my relationships with friends that are women. There's even, and so the reason why that is because I think that's like, we think, I'm going to try and answer this quickly, but if you think that you see other people in their relationship and there was somebody cheated on the other person and now they're in divorce, it's just, like, some people look at that and go, oh my God, I would never do that. Like, you are fooling yourself.
Yeah, because it can happen to
anybody, right? And so it is very important to set up boundaries because really that's what sin does. That's what sin wants to destroy relationships. That's what it wants to do. So those are just a few things. We also, though, we have to set boundaries even for our relationship, like for us personally, because there's so many external things going on, whether it's events or parties, whatever it is. Like, there's certain things that we just don't do. Like, we have to say no to. Or there's certain events or outings with guys, the boys, that I choose not to do because it's really a boundary for us in our relationship. So, what's your boundary?
Also, that is a lot of my boundaries. But yeah, like he said, even setting up boundaries for us in our time and saying, okay, we're going to set up a boundary as in like this night, every week, we are busy. We're setting that up. Like, nothing can get in. It's our time together. Otherwise, things get in.
Yeah.
So that's really good. That's really good. So, like, your guys' time, no one can get in. That is really good. So, how do you guys deal with the temptation to sin?
You pray. I pray. Because again, first of all, I think that as a Christian, as a believer, we're broken. And so that's a good question because we're gonna sin. And so with that being said, boundaries are important. But also just praying, like I pray. And even in the prayer, it says, lead me not into temptation, right? So really praying, setting up boundaries. Also, another thing that's good is like having people in your life that can keep you accountable.
And tell you the truth and not just what you want to hear.
Yeah, but like people that really know you. Like, you gotta have like real relationships with people, especially when you're married, definitely when you're single, because at that point you can talk to people, go, man, I'm really struggling right now with this, and I need your help, I need your prayer, and people can help in that space. So praying, do you have any?
Yeah, I think definitely praying over Ray, specifically for myself, like that helps me, because God always will remind me, like through the prayer, like he is my husband, and I need to always remember that. And so there's always temptation, like everywhere, right? There's always temptation, and just that praying, God is like, okay, I'm going to keep that in your heart all the time. And so when I pray over him, he's closer in my heart. So I am more aware, because it's when you start to distance yourself, and where like marriage can sometimes get into like routine, where you just like don't feel that connection sometimes, because you have kids and you have to grocery shop and you have to do laundry and you get home and you go to sleep and you do it all over again. And so through that, it's easier for temptation to get in, and not even in a way that's like, I'm tempting and gonna ruin your marriage. It's like the sly, like, oh, this is just innocent here, you know. And but through just me praying over Ray and for our marriage every day, that is always keeping me focused on us and keeping that at the forefront of my mind.
That's really good. I like that. You're close to her heart every day.
Yeah, close to my heart.
Oh, I love that. examples, guys. Pray for your husbands. Pray for your wives to keep them close. That's so good. Gosh. Besides God, what are some of the key pillars you have in your marriage that got you to where you are today?
Yeah. So just as I reflect on really
the conversation or
just our story, right? Like, in the conversation. I just look at kind of just milestones that have played a part in our life. And one of them is having people in your life. I think that this is probably a big one that maybe...
I feel like it's one of the biggest.
Like nobody thinks about, right? Like, because you'll have a completely different result. Like if we're fighting and we have people that are in our lives that we can go to, I can go to and call and say, oh my God, this is what's happening. They're going to tell me the truth, right? They're gonna give me truth about the situation. Versus, and I know that there's relationships that do this where we're fighting and we don't have those kinds of people, and I'm calling my boy who is maybe not even married or is married but not leading his family. You know what I mean? Like he's not anchored in the gospel. He's gonna tell me something different. He's gonna be like, bro, what is she doing? Why does she think she exactly? And so then right? So like your counsel is so important. And just to even give an example, Amber, hilarious, funny story. I don't know where Instagram is, but
is ours turned around again?
I hope not. Let me just check. But here comes the funny story, guys.
It's okay.
So we had
to check.
So Barbie, I don't know. Have we told Barbie this story? Hilarious.
Probably not.
So one night, Amber has my phone, no biggie. She's on my Instagram. That's not a big deal.
Nope.
And she's scrolling through the people I follow.
Oh, okay.
Right? And so I see her and she's
We're
unfollowing.
on Facebook. Oh.
She's unfollowing people. She's like,
Amber.
nope, you're not going to be following her, boo.
Okay. Okay, Amber.
And so I get like frustrated. I'm like, give me my phone. What are you doing? And she's like, you're not following those people. So we have an argument.
We're one. I can do that. She can go that far now. She's like, we're one. I don't know what
So we have this argument, right? And it gets to a point where I have to have counsel. So I call Keller. And when I feel like I totally think I'm right in this situation. And Amber's like, you're not right. So I call Keller and I'm like, Keller, can you believe this? And he's like, bro, if she wants to unfollow people on your phone, that's okay. And I was like, what?
Keller, tell her.
Keller,
tell her.
So like,
tell her she's wrong.
So Keller reminds me that I have to lay down my life for her and I have to protect her. Like if she feels like whatever is bothering her, if it's somebody that I'm following on Instagram or Facebook or somebody that I'm talking to, I have to address that to protect her. So it's people like that, having people in your life that will tell you and remind you, right? Like that was key in our relationship, and still is. We call Pastor Nate all the time. Yeah. There's been instances where cartons of eggs have flown off of the counters. Okay.
Grace the flying one, right? Fight or flight, and I'm so you know who threw it.
So that's a big part of really maintaining our relationship. I think intentionality is important. Being intentional about Amber and pursuing Amber and desiring Amber. And I think intentionality there has to be discipline. And that's probably something that you don't hear in marriage, because I think for most people we think that it's just automatic. You love somebody, it should just be automatically where it happens. And
but
there's seasons.
Not. I mean, you have to work on it. Right. Just like if you're going to stay in shape, you have to work out. Yeah. The same thing with your marriage. You have to work on it and be intentional. Otherwise, you're going to be led down a path that is going to either lead you guys into different directions.
Yep.
And so if you're not constantly making the effort to stay on the same page. So I read books, or I talk to couples, or we have our mentors in our life, and that's all just to keep us together and intentional.
So having people in our lives,
having a growth mindset would be the third one. definitely having a growth mindset together and wanting to learn, like, what does marriage look like? Like, we don't know all of it. We've learned a lot, but we're not perfect. And so always trying to grow and be better. I always am praying and trying to figure out how I could serve him better and be a better wife. And I want to get better at that. Like, I don't want to just like, oh, well, I'm good enough. Let's just plateau here for the rest of our life. Like, it'll always be in growth mode.
So when did you learn how to make this coffee? Because that was delicious.
Bomb, right?
Yeah,
well,
like I got this. I was like, I get why you guys got me. Like, that was the best coffee I've
It's
had.
the cups, actually.
It's the cups.
My good friend Karen Isbister got me these cups, and we drink out of them religiously.
So good. It's so good. So, what advice do you give our singles joining in may find themselves discouraged in this media-saturated age?
Limit your media time and make sure you understand what you're looking at. Most of it is not real, and it's highlights, and you have to remind yourself of that too. Like, I've taken a break from Instagram here and there because I find myself like comparing and judging, and it just puts my mindset in a different spot. And so I have to take a break and center myself and understand like what's reality. And Instagram and Facebook, not reality. It's like, Zoe, smile, smile, smile. And then you see that, but you don't see me killing.
I would have to ditto that. I think that we're in this world where, like, I believe we got to embrace it as we were talking, but at the same time we have to understand, like, social media, the internet gives us an opportunity to create whatever we want. And for people that are like authentic, they look at that and they think that that's real. They look at relationships and think, oh my God, they're so happy. Or, oh my God, they're doing this. Oh my God. And so I think that there is really a balance between embracing the fact that now people are meeting on social media. They're connecting, they're learning about each other, they're getting engaged, and they're getting married off of that platform. And but at the same time, I think that you always want to have. I didn't have a vision for marriage, but I would encourage people to have a vision for marriage. Write down a goal, like, what do you want that marriage to look like, and be praying about it, and have people coming around, have people in your life that you can counsel and really go to for advice, and be intentional. Like, I wasn't intentional. Me and you weren't intentional. And by the grace of God, we're here. And so we've been able to, I think that the good, the bad that we've had, we've been able to like help others with. But when you're intentional and you have people around you, and you are trusting God that He wants good for you, then you can come to any of those you can function around that world, whether it's not online or if it's online, with something in mind. Like you it's almost like you know what you're looking for.
That's good. I really like that. And I just want to say that what you guys see with them is what you get in real life. Like, out of the pages that I follow, not the people that I follow, what you see is what you get, and it even reminds me of like other people I've met. It's like, are they really that passionate? Are they really that funny? Then you meet them and they really are. You're just like, yes, like, I feel so blessed by you guys, and man, I'm so.
I didn't know we had an hour though. Only an hour.
On Instagram, but Facebook goes longer, so we're still on Facebook. Okay. Well. So, and that phone's true. You guys, it's okay. This will be edited. It'll be on YouTube. So, here's the final one, and then we're done with our, well, kind of done. But are you guys planning on having any more kids?
Well.
Did you just see? Have you been around here? I'm like, two's good.
Azai is a lot.
Two's good.
But it's only for a season.
It is only for a season.
He's not even like that all the time. I don't know why he's coming here. He loves me.
He does love you.
He's like, he is let me sing. Maybe you need a lip sync with him.
Yeah.
Oh,
You need
that's
to,
it.
like,
That's
yeah.
it.
It's funny because you put a song and you open your mouth and goes.
He like goes,
You're like, dang, you got pipes. You got
vocals.
I'm like, that's Whitney Houston. Thank you. Thank you.
So funny.
But yeah.
So, but the real answer is I don't know about naturally.
We want to
biologically.
adopt,
But
and
we-
that'll probably not be
Yeah.
for like a couple years, but that's something that we want
That's
to
a conversation. that we're
pursue.
having.
Wow.
Yeah. It's adoption.
Yeah. So.
You guys want to adopt me?
Yes,
Yes,
yes, yes.
we do.
That's Ray's like, yeah, I said an older child.
Right? It's like, want to adopt me? I will take care of this. Oh man, no, that's awesome.
Yeah.
What? Oh man, that's so amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
It is just a season though.
It is.
We gotta get out of this season though.
Yeah.
And then the
He's
answer
having
might
teeth
change.
come out. I think so too. You guys make
When we
really
get out of
beautiful
this.
babies, and you would even bless my future children because they're gonna be
I will
future
take care
little
of
you guys.
them.
Yeah.
I was like, they're gonna be future
Yeah,
little you
we
guys,
future
so
children.
we can have arranged marriages even
Yeah.
from now.
Yeah.
You know,
Set
like,
them up.
just set it up
Tonight.
now. I'm always looking like, Sai, who's your girlfriend? Because you're so cute. I was like, I hope I have a little boy, but it'd be younger than Zoe, so that wouldn't. I don't know. I was like,
we gotta
No,
come.
we
back.
just gotta work
on
this out. How are you gonna come into my?
You have to
you
have
know.
a daughter.
Yeah, if I have
Yeah.
a daughter later
Then-
on, then Zai.
Yeah.
It doesn't even matter if it's like 5 years.
I know.
It's
Yeah.
just like, you
Yeah.
guys, we are not arranging.
We're working this
well,
out.
you might see this in a couple of minutes. This is where we got arranged.
Yeah, exactly.
This meeting.
This is where
Everything's
it happened.
online now.
Right.
So when they get married, they're gonna be like,
You really
Set this up.
All right. Well, I thank you for inviting me to your
Thank
home
you.
and for sharing everything that
Yeah.
I didn't know, and I'm just so surprised. I knew parts and bits, but it's
It was a
just
lot.
amazing to know your guys' journey into who you guys are now, and I praise God that I know them now. No, just kidding. No, but like, I think I don't even know. Well, I've known you guys for about 6 years,
Mhm.
maybe.
Yeah.
Around there,
Yeah.
6 or 7? No, not 7, like
Longer.
6.
6, I think.
I think 6 years.
oh yeah,
Yeah,
A couple
so-
years before Zoe was born.
Yeah,
got it.
and it's you guys have always been like I didn't know your whole story, but just knowing you guys has always been an encouragement. I was like, I just saw your pictures. Even okay, just explain what you guys were doing in the picture that I shared, where you guys where you're kissing her.
I think
With
that
the red
First of
star.
all,
Oh yeah, that was
Tell
insane.
me.
why was I wearing what I was wearing? That's one question. Don't wear leather jackets with your collar flipped up and a red scarf.
It was great. I
Did
love that picture.
It was
I
our-
absolutely
It is.
love
It's a
that
cool
picture.
picture.
It's
So
our
we
wedding, our engagement.
engagement photo. There you go.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Right
It
here,
is.
guys.
So we were in San Francisco
Yeah.
doing engagement photos with this amazing photographer.
Mhm.
So that's it.
Yeah, it's so cute. I didn't even notice your collar was up. I really didn't. I just,
Gosh,
it's just
I look
so
at that
cute.
and go,
And if there's any,
what was
It
I
is
doing?
really funny.
Why did you allow me to?
No, that was my scarf too.
Dang,
yeah,
put
she
me
just
out on
put
friendship.
it on Facebook. I just go viral. Yeah, my scarf.
That's my jacket too.
So
Oh.
that's awesome.
Yeah. So
I just see that picture and it just like reflects you guys as you are as in a relationship.
it's crazy.
So
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for
Thanks.
having this on your lives
yes.
and.
Thank you for being in my life. In my life.
Solid.
Yeah, thank
Being
That's
in my
pretty
life.
good, yeah.
And being in my life. But just oh gosh, I love you guys so much.
Yeah.
And you guys, you need to go follow them. Your Instagram handle is Raymond Brown. No, Life with Raymond Brown.
Life with Raymond Brown.
Life with Raymond Brown.
Yeah.
And Amber Brown Inc.
Yes.
At Amber Brown Inc. And you guys just need to go follow them, love on them, and just, they are so encouraging, guys. And they are inspiring. Literally the other day, I was crying because of what you put. It was like hitting me so hard. It's like, you are so unique and have, like, your gifts need to be put out there. Like, something that you put, and I was like,
Yeah.
yes, right? Yes, I need that. I needed that today.
Yeah.
I'm a
I
type
follow Barbie
Yes.
at Barbie What is it?
It's Barbie CMG.
Oh, CMG.
CMG.
What if-
CMG. I'm on
CMG.
MG. Yeah.
M something like
Barbie
that.
CMG because
Yes.
she will light up your feed with so much good
Yeah.
stuff. So
Yeah.
yes,
With the
and
cuteness of their baby. Yes, I love that. Seriously, it's so cute. And although he cried, but it's okay because
yeah, this is life. This
yeah,
is
life.
real.
So
Yeah.
Yeah.
we're gonna finish
Cool.
off today. I was gonna do the song, but we'll just do that for next week. I want to let you guys know that next week I have 2 guest speakers. One is a couple, and another one is a single lady, but with a powerful message. I want you guys to stay tuned for them, and I'm actually going to announce the single lady right now. She is the pastor of Guido's Church in the Bay Area. Her name is Lisette Grillo. And for our couple is a couple that has also affected my life, and they are so cute. They were actually love at first sight.
Yeah.
They have an amazing story. It's all going to be in Spanish, but if you have Spanish-speaking friends, I encourage you to please share it with them so that they can get encouraged in their marriage, in their single life, in whatever part of their life that they are. So that is it for today, guys. Let's have Alexa give us, hold on. Alexa, play music. Will she do it? Alexa.
Here's a new album you might like by Elevation Worship.
Oh, okay.
Solid.
See, praying for Alexa works. She got saved. Oh, Alexa. All right, guys. Bye.